know about Kwajalein and Mike Klein? And I have to tell you, Mike Klein told me to throw this question.
Well, I learned about Kwajalein through the broader USAPAC mission. Kwajalein represents obviously something bigger than geography. It represents commitment and isolation. USAPAC Commanding General, General Clark, has 3 lines of effort. There are people, partners, and prevail. So people, whether it's soldiers or contractors or civilians, are important, obviously. Sure. And so our job is to make sure that we take care of those elements wherever they are, especially in an isolated place like this. Partners, you have contractors here, obviously. You have civilians, you have family members. All of those folks are to be treated with dignity and respect. Now, that's the chaplain's lane. It should all be all leaders' lane, but that's the chaplain's lane. So I help the commanding general to make sure that those things are taken care of.
Excellent. We saw that you served in the Army for over 31 years and across multiple commands worldwide. What does a typical day look like for you now as the USAPAC command chaplain? And how does that translate to supporting more contractors than active service members in a remote community like ours?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question because there's no typical day for the chaplain right there. I can have all the schedules, I can have everything laid out, but I can be advising the commanding general on ethical and moral things going out throughout the world. One day, and you go from stars to a private first class the next day, talking about marriage, talking about his role in the Army, talking about his identity, talking about why he's struggling, or just the impact the Army is having on his particular life. So in that respect, my day is never typical, but that's the beautiful thing about it, because I just get to uplift people at any time, anywhere, at any space, right? And so when you're talking about civilians and contractors, it's interesting. I went to the dining facility yesterday and got a chance to talk to someone who's been here since 2005.
Few of those.
Right. And so having an opportunity to sit down and talk with him and kind of share his experiences. It's an old saying, some of the strongest people in the morning cry themselves to sleep at night. He was most appreciative just to sit down and talk to me for an hour, unscheduled. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. So that's the great thing about my line of work.
Excellent. Your conversion from Christianity to Islam is one of the most shared faith journeys online. What moment or relationship truly shifted your heart? And what would you want people to understand most about faith across traditions?
Yeah, I want people to understand that it wasn't about rejection. It wasn't about a deviation for something. It was really just about my personal journey searching for alignment, right? As a young man, I battled addiction, drunkenness, failure, trauma, poor self-esteem, poor self-worth. Islam brought a sense of discipline to my life, daily prayers, regimentation, fasting, charity. It was kind of the alignment that I needed. I needed structure, right, because of my horrid past. And then what I want people to understand is religion is not about arguing to see who's right or wrong. Religion is about the presence of God in your life and trying to get you to value yourself more and be a help to humanity.
Beautiful. Notice how I'm pausing in between, so don't forget to do that. You've studied, taught, and led in interfaith spaces around the world. In your experience, what makes a community thrive across different cultures and belief, especially in a close-knit community like ours?
Well, I want to start off with a statement. Respect is anchored in shared beliefs. My journey most certainly is different with the conversion. I grew up Lutheran. I grew up in a Christian home. And when you leave outside of that closed environment and you see people from different cultures and different faiths, we have to respect people's shared values, like morality. People just want their kids to grow up in a great home and go to college. These are shared beliefs, And so for me, being in those communities like CENTCOM, ARCENT, Guantanamo Bay, I was fortunate enough to bring a sense of balance to the commanders and leaders because they knew how I'd been on both sides. I studied in Jordan, Arabic in Jordan. I led in Kuwait, and all of these multi-dynamic operations. And I can tell you, dignity, honor, and respect helps in this thing that we call shared beliefs.
Excellent. You've trained over 4,500 soldiers, civilians, and family members. What are the most common spiritual or emotional challenges service members face today, and how can communities better support them?
Yeah, the most common spiritual and emotional challenges today is, loneliness is a silent despair.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a culture where vulnerability is not necessarily accepted, right? Vulnerability is considered weak. Vulnerability is considered, something that needs to be, especially in our community, in the military, that needs to be held at bay. Our soldiers are strong, but it does not eliminate them from struggle, right? And so they wrestle with purpose, they wrestle with identity, they wrestle with marriages, they wrestle with a litany of things. Amongst those things is the high op tempo of the Army. So the emotional challenge today is for us to be able to tap into that without destroying the human being, right?
Good.
And so the chaplain provides, honestly, a bridge for that, because they can come into me and everything is confidential. I can listen to them in their weakest moments, then their most vulnerable moments, and guess what? It doesn't leave outside of my door. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Excellent. You've served in high-profile and high-pressure environments like CENTCOM